Alrighty, so my little top chat thing says there's one person in here. It's probably me. But thank you for stopping by Indie Dave Comics channel. I, of course, am your host, Indie Dave. We're going to be talking today a little bit about kind of a new direction we're going with the Indie Dave Comics channel. We're going to try to line up my whole social media footprint into one cohesive project, essentially. If you haven't subscribed to me, if you haven't subscribed to me yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, follow me on Twitter at Indie Dave Comics. Also follow me on Instagram at Indie Dave Comics. I will soon be posting stuff over there. I don't know if anybody pays attention. As you can see, I got one person in the chat supposedly, and I kind of would like that number to go up. I would also like my subscriber number to go up. One of the things, if you don't know anything about me, is I've recently, within the last couple of years, started writing comic books, writing scripts, that kind of stuff. I'm going to have a short story, not a comic short story, but excuse me, a short bit of prose. It's going to be published in Ashcan Press, coming out in May. If you go to my YouTube account, you will see pinned to my YouTube is a short 4-page comic that I wrote and was illustrated by Ibai Canales. I've also worked on another project with a guy by the name of Paul Dozier, who is at ZZombie13 on Twitter. I'm not sure if he's got Instagram or any of that other stuff, but I've been working with him for a little bit on a project, and we're working on a project right now. Hopefully, maybe I'll make an announcement about that particular project later, the one we're working on right now, when I can have him on the show. That one's kind of niche, so I think we're going to talk about that one a little. We're going to need to talk about that one for a little while on multiple shows to really kind of get people to understand what that one's about. But we will still, here at the Indie Dave Comics channel, be having on creators and talking about their Indiegogo campaigns. That's not going to change. What is going to change is Indie Dave Comics is going to start learning to draw. Now, I used to draw a little bit in high school. When I was really into comics, I wanted to be a comic book artist, but I never really studied anatomy or whatever. Most of the stuff that I drew was kind of copycat off of comic books that I was reading at the time. So, that's some of the stuff I did. It never really amounted to anything. I never went to school. I think probably, I would say, pumping myself up a little bit. If I had actually took the time to study, I think I'd have been a pretty decent artist. But that's what we're going to try to do right now. The direction we're going to go with the show is I'm going to try to teach myself to draw. What I have done is I've ordered some books, some anatomy books that were recommended to me by Mr. Dozier, and also by you know him as Jiminy. You might know him as Jiminy Cricket, and seen him on some of the other chats. So he recommended a couple of books. So I'm probably going to look for some of those. I'll show you what I'm working on what I'm working with right this minute, what books I have. What I'm going to try to do is be very kind of clinical about it. I'm going to draw a baseline picture and just to kind of get a sense of where I'm at. And then the plan, I don't know if you hear my dog snoring in the background. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up lessons for myself out of the books. I got one whole book on drawing hands. I think it's Hogarth. I got 2 books by Hogarth, which were recommended to me. dynamic anatomy, and drawing hands. So we're gonna do some. Well, what I'm gonna do is review the books. We're gonna look through the books, and I'm gonna show you these are the books I got. I got them both on Amazon. I got all three of them on Amazon because I got another third book. And I got the used beat up editions, so I got them for pretty cheap. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over. Okay, this is the lesson I'm learning today. We're gonna do a hand study. Next, maybe someday we're gonna do a face study. Sometimes I'm just gonna post a little short video of what I've been working on that day, what I've been sketching, and post just a quick video. Maybe do, and we're gonna definitely post my progress on Instagram, so you can follow. So people who are interested can track my progress and see how well I'm doing. I'm pretty thick-skinned, so I'm definitely wide open to criticism. I actively encourage it because you don't get better if you don't know what you're doing wrong. So it'll be highly open to criticism for anybody that wants to tell me what I'm doing wrong. I want to invite people on that are also learning, some people that are experienced. I'd love to have some experienced artists on, and we'll talk about drawing, and we'll talk about art, and maybe we'll talk about some of these books. Well, I don't know if I said already, I'm going to review some of the books that I got when I get them in. We're just going to go over them real quick and then say, okay, well, let's do this lesson. So, and obviously we'll do some recommending of other books and see what everybody else is using. I will show you. This is going to get embarrassing for me. I'm putting it out there, guys. You're about to see some embarrassing stuff. I have an old sketchbook from, I don't know, the 1990s. I was between 15 and 17, I think, when I did these drawings. They're really bad. They're very derivative because I was learning off of drawing the comics that I was really liking at the time. And so I'm going to show you some of what I did when I was in high school. There's only a little bit here. And then we'll be using this same sketchbook that I used then to start learning my figure drawing and all that stuff now. If you're in the chat and you're watching, feel free to say hi in the chat for me so I know who's here. So let's get to that part, actually. I'm going to show you the embarrassing stuff first, so you can all get a sense of where I was in high school and where I was motivated in high school. All right, so this is it. Let me turn my camera on. Let's turn my camera on. Boom, there it is. You'll see that the Hangouts kind of mirrors everything. So there's my sketchbook. This is what I'm going to be using. All right. Nobody's watching, so I don't remember drawing this first drawing. I don't remember why I would have drawn it. It's entirely possible that I got this book in college. I'm just kind of guessing. So this first book, let's see. So I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to tell you I have no idea why I drew Keanu Reeves. I don't remember drawing this picture. I've shown it before on my Twitter account, but it's I don't know. I think it's done in charcoal. Yeah, it's done in charcoal. So I don't know what I referenced. I don't know where that came from. So that's, you know, that was me back in 19. Sorry, the camera's a little shaky. I don't really have it set up for my webcam just yet. So this is all held by hand, and it's really funky because Hangouts mirrors everything. So when I turn one direction, it actually turns the other direction. All right, so that was this. Now comes the kind of embarrassing superhero-y derivative comic book stuff. I don't know who this character is. I probably made him up. It was probably like Super Comic Book Man or something. So what's it say? Oh, it says Captain Super. You can kind of read it right there. You'll see my understanding of anatomy probably wasn't as good as it should have been. Let's see. And obviously, what I used to do a lot of. If anybody has seen me on Twitter, you've seen that I have kind of a weird sense of humor. you've seen I've had kind of a weird sense of humor. I've always had kind of a weird sense of humor. So a lot of what you're about to see is kind of, it was kind of funny, to me at the time, parody type stuff that I was learning to draw, and some of it was a character I created. All right, let's see. So there's that guy. Let's see. So I was probably, somewhere between 15 and 17, I think, I drew that. Currently 44. There's a little pencil art I did. Apparently I was trying to learn arms. I don't know if I ever got it down that well. I don't think they look that great right now. So I was highly influenced by, in this book, you'll see a couple of influences. And this one, I don't know if you can tell, this was influenced by Ninja Turtles, even though it's not really anything that looks like a Ninja Turtle. But you see, I mean, it's lightly in pencil. Here's another of the same guy. A little background on this character. He was kind of like a post-apocalyptic Conan type. That metal thing on his face was actually attached to his skull in his background story. I believe the character, I called him Omar or something. Yeah, it was Omar. All right. Next. Here's another picture. And now he's, got guns and boots and all kinds of weirdness. So, yeah, he said all kinds of that weird gun with the magazine on top. And my son actually went through this today and he was like, he's got the magazine on top, and in the front, he's got a front sight, which would be totally blocked by the magazine. So there's my understanding of guns at the time as well. And here's he's got some funky boots, kind of torn up clothes. All right, let's see. Next, let's go to. So you're going to see my other influence here in a little bit. Oh, no, there's nothing on that page. Boom. There we go. I was a huge Sam Keith fan. I still have a Sam Keith fan, but I loved the Max. The Max is one of my favorite comics, and I used to draw like a million different iterations of the Max. One of them I just called the Woodchuck, and instead of having like 4 teeth, it just had 2 big teeth. So yeah, so I used to everything you're gonna see from here on out was different iterations of the Max. See, I drew that other character in the same kind of pose. You see, my hands aren't all that great. Let's see. And there he is again. Although I don't know, that's all right for 15 to 17. I don't think that's, pro quality, obviously. And it definitely needs a lot of work. But you can see I tried a little bit with the shading. You get the black boots. And, yeah, that's actually, you know what? You'll see, here's your Ninja Turtle reference right here. He's only got 3 fingers. So, yeah, so this is some of the stuff I did. This one I wouldn't mind like having this character come back. All right, here's where everything becomes the Max again. This is the Max becoming Batman, essentially. Although it looks almost like he's got the Batman ears. So he's kind of doing a Batman thing. And then here he is doing another Batman thing. And you can see it's a little kind of liney stuff. And here's another one I did that was basically a Batman. I took that Max pose and put Batman wings on him. This is all stuff I did in high school. I don't think I made it early college doing this. Although I would think that the only reason I can think of, yeah, you can barely kind of make out some of these other sketches I did. Light pencil. I didn't hardly even notice it. There's some more heads, some really weird faces. He said, I don't even remember drawing any of this, why I drew it. Another one right there. I didn't even realize these parts were here, and I think that's the end of all my character drawing here. Yeah, that looks like that's pretty much it. So the rest of my book here is blank. The Keanu Reeves thing seems like something I would have done in college, because I did take one drawing. I did take one drawing course in one of the 5 colleges that I dropped out of. So let's see. So that was the sketchbook. I'm going to show you some of the books that were, well, one of the books that I have here was recommended to me by Jiminy Cricket. And I'll show you that one. But first I'm going to show you, this is one that I'm going to try different styles. I know it's backwards, but I think you can probably understand what that says, even though it's backwards. So we're going to try. I actually got this book for my daughter because she's really into art and stuff. So on days when we practice some of the manga, that'll probably be weekend shows. She'll be sitting down with me and we'll be going over some of the lessons that are in the book.
Colorful.
Yeah, doing eyes and that kind of stuff. So yes, you can take it away now. All right. And this one's actually pretty popular. It's Cartooning the Head and Figure. It's by Jack Ham. Now, one of the books I have on order is Drawing Comics the Marvel Way. And it doesn't reference this book in the bibliography, but it does it does reference another Jack Ham book. So that's interesting. And the 2 other books I got were Hogarth books. And it definitely, in Drawing Comics the Marvel Way, in the bibliography, it mentions one of them. The other one, that was Dynamic Figure, I believe. Or Dynamic Anatomy, something like that. And the other book was Drawing Dynamic Hands. That seems to be what a lot of artists have trouble with. So I figured I'll try to nip that in the bud. Let's see. We'll go through this book a little bit. I've worked with it a little bit. I actually got this book years ago. And it's one of those things where I always think I'm going to start up drawing again, and then I never do it. But now I'm going to do it really kind of clinically. I'm going to do shows about it. I'm going to log my hours. I think they say 10,000 hours makes you, I don't know, an expert, or maybe not an expert, but makes you really good at something. That's where your skills really kick in. It's at 10,000 hours. I'm going to go I'll probably go longer than a year, but I'm going to see what happens, track my improvement for a year. And then from that year, we're going to keep tracking the hours till we get to 10,000. Because I can guarantee I don't have the time to draw 8 hours a day. I might get 3 or 4 hours on a good day. And most of the other times, maybe I can fit in an hour here and there. Probably it'll be more like 15 minutes when I can. I do have another full-time job that actually pays my bills and all that. So that's what, so I'll be drawing basically in my free time and working on getting better. Let's see. So this Jack Ham book, let's see. Partial contents. Let's see. These are this is more cartooning than it is, I don't know, really the kind of comic book art we see nowadays. I think this book came out in like the 40s or something. But all the basics, the fundamentals are all still there. And that's really what you build off of your fundamentals. Here's some contents. That's a little backwards, so I don't expect you to be able to read any of that. What I'll probably do is read snippets on other shows. And then we'll just about the lessons that I'm going to be going over and what the author has feelings about for certain things, what he thinks about his philosophies, that kind of stuff. Let's see, cartoon faces. And look, there's not perfect circles. It's just like, hey, draw a basic circle and then add this and add that. And there's your basic cartoony face. And that's a lot of the lessons are kind of like that. How to draw different kinds of faces, different kinds of eyes and mouths and stuff like that. And you notice it doesn't stress perfection. This is about cartooning, which isn't a perfection thing. Although, unless you're doing Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin and Hobbes is pretty perfect as far as comic strips go. You can see, oh, look at this. This is all just noses. This whole section here is just comic-y noses. And you go here, it's just different facial expressions, different ways to show facial expressions. Sometimes simplicity is the best way. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish with your comic, what you're trying to accomplish with your comic strip. Let's see. All kinds of mustaches, mouths, cartoon eyes. There's a million different ways to draw eyes. That manga book, I'm sure has I know it has a section on how to draw manga eyes. There's different things on hair and beards, ears. I mean, this is actually, I looked through the book and I've done some of the things, but I never really noticed all the different things. Hats, women's hats, men's hats, drawing, scared emotions. Here we go. Drawing angry people and scared people, and different ways to show that somebody's scared or angry or whatever. Sorrow. So this is one of the books we'll be working through. This little, it gets more into more complicated stuff about faces. It goes from simple to building up your skills. So this looks like it's going to be a pretty good book. I'll be using this one, referencing this one, probably more than I thought I was going to. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll turn off this camera. And maybe we'll just, there we go. Oh, I'm getting tired of holding that little camera up. All right, so what I'm going to be doing, we'll sum it up a little bit. I'm going to be learning to draw. I'm going to be talking more about the projects I'm working on. The goal is to build up, and I'm not going to lie, it's to build up a social media presence. It's to get more followers. It's to get more subscribers. It's to build up viewership, to get people to have me on or to check me out on Instagram, to follow the progress. I figure that'll be kind of my hook. I'm hoping, it catches on. That'll be my story. People can track my progress. They can offer suggestions. They can offer critiques. I am all about critiques. I'm all about people looking at my work and saying, this is where you can get better. Free advice like that, it's invaluable. Hopefully we'll having some artists on. I've had Doug on my show before. I can't promise I'll have him again, but we'll try to get some of these bigger names on the show. I think once people understand what's going on, it's not really a show just for me. I think it's a show for anybody that's just starting, and it's a show for anybody that wants to contribute. I actively want people to contribute to the show. I want my audience to be a part of the show. So if you have advice and you say, hey, I want to jump in, I can offer you advice here or there, I'm going to send you a link and you can come on. And all you got to do is just let me know. Let me check my Twitter here for a second. No, nobody's offering help today, but that's quite all right. So let's see. I'm going to show you another something. Tomorrow we'll be going to Michael's, the art supply store, and I'm going to do a share screen here, and I'm going to show you. No, that's not it. Share screen. Here we go. We're share. And this is just one section. I also want, I don't know if I mentioned it. The other art book I got was a kind of a older that I'm waiting to come in, an older beat up copy of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. I'm waiting for that one to come in. I got that one for, I think I paid like $6 for it. Like I said, I bought beat up copies online because as long as it's intact and I can use all the information, I don't care if it looks good, as long as it's usable. Tomorrow we're going to pick up some of these things that's recommended in that book. Let's see. We got pencil, pen, and brush, some erasers, ink. I don't know that I'll get the brush and the ink, at least not to start. I'll probably get, different kinds of pencils and maybe some inking pens. Let's see. I'll be getting like a triangle, a circle, also a circle thing to trace out circles. I don't think I'll be needing this just yet, the big T-square. Probably I definitely will get a ruler though. And let's see, I'm going to be using the sketchbook for now. So I'm not going to need any kind of papers. I'm not producing any work to be handed in any professional capacity. It's just going to be me learning, me sketching. I have another little sketchbook that I'll probably use as well. And then we'll be taking pictures of those and posting them on Twitter and on Instagram. I'll probably get myself a little compass as well. I don't think I'll need to buy a rag. I'm pretty sure I've got something around here that'll work. So we're gonna go get some tools here tomorrow, and we'll do our baseline. I'll do my baseline drawing, and that'll be just a picture of a person. It'll probably be pretty cartoony. I'm not gonna go for over realistic, but it'll be pretty cartoony, and then we'll build off of that. I think there's a lot to learn from the Marvel Comics book, the Marvel Drawing Comics the Marvel Way. I think there's a lot to learn. Well, obviously there's a lot to learn from all these books, but you know, each book will have something different to offer, and then I'll build up my collection as we go, based on recommendations and what I've seen and some other stuff. So I actively invite anybody who's into drawing, who wants to come on. Just let me know, and I will still be doing interviews for people with their Indiegogo product to push their books. I'm definitely all about that. I'm all about helping out people, and hopefully people will help me out a little bit. But I think it'll be fun. I think there's a lot. Like I said, we'll be doing stuff like hands. There'll be hands day, maybe feet day, leg day. We have an arms day. We'll be doing faces day. We'll be doing proportions, and we'll be doing perspective and all that kind of stuff. It'll be all out of whatever book I get. So we'll be doing the lesson from that particular book. Eventually there will come to be a boob day. So that's something to look forward to as I learn to draw, female anatomy. This has been a short one. I hope you like where I've said the channel's going. I know there's only 2 of you in the chat, or at least 2 of you that are watching, according to this. Could be my wife and my son. But again, feel free to offer suggestions. I'm all about suggestions. Just remember, the whole idea is for me to build an audience so that when I'm ready to drop a project, I've got people that are watching and are aware that the project's coming up. I do have a few projects in the works, and maybe we'll even have, again, hopefully I want to get Paul Dozier on sometime in the future. He's got some personal things he's working through, which is, it's fine. Everybody's got their stuff. So when we can work around his schedule, we're going to have him on, and we'll talk about the projects that the 2 of us are working on together. There's one specifically, again, right now that's it's not a traditional comic book as far as subject matter goes, but I think it's going to be funny and it's going to be fun, and I think people will like it. I think we're going to have to kind of keep pitching it because it's a very niche. It'll be a very niche audience, but I think initially that's what it's going to sound like. But I think I can write it to appeal to a bigger audience. So what we're going to do, that's what we're doing here, is we're building a bigger audience, and we're going to hopefully appeal to more people. Hopefully we're going to have fun with this. I just don't want to sit here and draw and not talk. So the first time we start drawing, in the first drawing show, I don't want to sit here and just draw to myself. I want to have people actively on the show, talking about art, talking about their experiences and their history, and what got them excited about drawing and where they hope to be and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that's what we're gonna get to. All right, so this has been the Indie Dave Comics Show. I have been and still am Indie Dave. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna close out for the night. because I think you'll understand, everybody that's listening, where I've gone, what I've done, and what I'm going to be doing. At least I hope so. So thank you for stopping by. For those of you who are watching right now, we were pretty much people in my house probably. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and find me on Instagram, which should also be Indie Dave Comics. And also follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, at Indie Dave Comics. And we're going to try to pull everything together and see what we can't do about building our audience and hopefully helping people out and helping myself out, of course. All right, y'all have a good night.